Please be seated for the announcements and then a special presentation as we do every year, the kickoff of Catholic Schools Week, acknowledging distinguished grads from St. Monica School. Now I'd like to invite our principal, Mrs. Baum, to come up and to introduce our distinguished graduates this year.
Good morning.
Morning.
Wow, okay. I don't have to introduce myself. I was already introduced. I am blessed beyond measure to be your school's principal. And on behalf of the faculty and staff of St. Monica School, I would like to welcome you to the beginning of Catholic Schools Week, where our children get to celebrate the blessings of a Catholic school education. You're all invited to our open house following Mass and any of the events that are going on this week to celebrate our amazing school, teachers, students, and families. And that's all been outlined in the bulletin. This morning, we've asked our distinguished grad to speak about the benefits of Catholic school and the impact it has made in his life. Oh, wait. We actually have two for the price of one this year. It gives us great pleasure to recognize Luke and Eddie Janicki. Luke and Eddie graduated in 2007 from St. Monica and continued their faith and academic life at Eastside Catholic and then Gonzaga. On behalf of St. Monica Catholic School, I would like to invite Luke and Eddie Janicki to come forward for a little presentation and to share a few words as our distinguished grads for 2018.
We'd like to thank Father Freitag and the whole administration and all of our teachers and peers who really helped shape us into who we are today. Catholic education has been a huge part of my life in its entirety. I studied engineering at Gonzaga, so I like to think of things in terms of numbers. So I was at St. Monica, K through 8, that's 9 years. Then Eastside Catholic, that's 4 more years. And then Gonzaga for another 4. So in total, that's 17 years. And I'm 24 years old now. That's 70% of my life to this point. That's a significant chunk of time. And St. Monica was the foundation for all of that. And besides all that, I'm still surrounded by Catholic education to this day. My mom has been a teacher for her whole career, and she still works here at the school. And Luke is now a teacher at Kennedy Catholic High School in Burien. And I probably learned more from them than from anyone else in my life. So, well, them and Mrs. Malone and Mr. Briarty and Mrs. Schneider, Mrs. Foster, the list goes on. So I really could have never escaped the Catholic school system, even if I tried or even if I wanted to. But the truth is that I never wanted to. I loved going to school, I really did. And I loved going to school because I got to hang out with my best friends every single day. There's a certain bond that you form with these friends who you're with for 9 years straight. And I know this as a fact now later on in my life. We just had a 10-year reunion about a month ago with our 8th grade class. So we organized this reunion, and we invited everybody, our whole class, and about 13 people showed up. So that was a heck of a turnout. That was good. That's almost 50%. It's like 40%. And we got to see friends that we hadn't heard from or seen in years, many years. But with that group, there's no pretense, there's no anxiety, and there's no hard feelings, because with those friends, you can just pick up exactly where you left off, and you just start joking around and laughing again. And for me, that's the core of Catholic education. It's the relationships that you form. with your peers, with your teachers. And sure, the academics are top-notch, and the discipline and the structure and the faith development, these things cannot go understated, but for me, the most special thing was the relationships. Thank you. Good morning.
Morning.
Well, if Eddie's calling himself the numbers guy, then I am most certainly the words guy. It's true what Eddie says, though, that Catholic education is more than just academics and discipline, an exact set of curriculum or a list of rules. Catholic education truly is a way of life that we're all familiar with as people of faith committed to our values. The reason, though, that I think the structures, traditions, and habits of mind espoused in Catholic schools are distinctly impactful is that we remember them. As students, we are urged through repetition and careful thought and prayer never to forget the lessons learned. In his recent Nobel Prize acceptance speech, British author Kazuo Ishiguro, who's one of my favorites, describes the significance of memory in his own life, in his own career creating fictional worlds. In his dystopian novel, Never Let Me Go, the narrator, Kathy, reflects back on her time at a small boarding school and the friends she made there. And she says this: "Maybe, in a way, we didn't leave it behind nearly as much as we might once have thought. Because somewhere underneath, a part of us stayed like that, fearful of the world around us, and no matter how much we despised ourselves for it, unable quite to let each other go." While the circumstances of the characters in the novel are more grave than those of the average person, her sentiments ring true. We are forever attached to the people we grew up with, and especially those we went to school with, because we have learned lessons from them and with them. We have old regrets and joys, old moments of laughter and gratitude, large and small, that we carry with us into present moments. They give us pause and help us to consider again and again if we are living a life that's worthy of the lessons that we've learned throughout our education. When I was teaching middle school Spanish in central Illinois over the past 2 years at a small Catholic grade school there, I would constantly be reminded of just such moments from my own past. For example, when my student Alex Ozmolski cut himself while working on an art project in Spanish class, with safety scissors, mind you, the small, colorful ones.
Yeah,
Like, how could he do that? For some reason, I had a flashback to sitting under the table in kindergarten class with Michael Rambaldini cutting each other's hair. When I was on recess duty every day retrieving a soccer ball from over the fence or helping first graders on the monkey bars, I would sometimes think back to the seasons and the shifts on the playground at St. Monica. Basketball, foursquare, jump rope, dodgeball on Fridays, climbing the trees in the grotto, which were definitely off limits, Karen doll being clotheslined during Red Rover, all of this which any of us can carefully recount. We can piece it all back together. When one of my sixth graders stormed out of the classroom chasing another student, I thought of when Joe and Emmett got in a fight in fourth grade, and Alyssa screaming in the back of the classroom because of the blood. Mrs. Malone, you probably remember that as well. I remember the small regrets, too, having to apologize to a friend after hurting their feelings, saying something weird about someone else behind their back, shaping what we now brush off as a fleeting difference into something far more significant than it should have been at the time. These moments all became lessons instantiated in time. Because of them, we are all unable quite to let each other go, and for this I'm very grateful. We and all our friends from St. Monica, Eastside, Gonzaga, some of my friends from Notre Dame, we all care about each other and have subtly built each other up over the years. I think of what makes the St. Monica alumnus distinguished, and I think that it's probably the fearless and engaged interpersonal skills honed during interactions like the ones I've mentioned, and it's also the confidence and the calm demeanor honed over years of conversation with classmates, both intentional classroom conversations and just carefree banter outside the classroom, that has helped us solidify for ourselves our own values. In other words, we can articulate what is most important to us. And why wouldn't we? We remember it all the time. Eddie and I don't consider ourselves distinguished from other Catholic school alumni. Our classmates through the years, our friends, we're distinguished among others because we can articulate what's most important to us and because we remember the lessons learned. We are so grateful in accepting this award, and we're grateful for our family, for the priests, teachers, and mentors who have guided us through the years along the way, and especially for our friends from Catholic schools who we learn from always. Thank you very much.
Well said.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. And if you have trouble telling them apart, thank you, Luke, for growing a beard. It makes it very for the rest of us. And Eddie's comment about education and valuable, how much he enjoys it. Eddie, 5 years seminary is waiting for you. Bring Luke with you, okay?
Nice practice.
I can see two young men here. Can't you see them all black with a Roman collar? Yes, that's Catholic education. In all seriousness, thank you, gentlemen. I love when Eddie said it's about foundation. And really that is the heart of Catholic education. It's foundation in Jesus Christ, foundation in the gospel of life. It's that forming and shaping young men and women into old men and women who are formed and shaped in the image likeness of Jesus Christ. And we are blessed, truly blessed at St. Monica with an outstanding first-year principal and a wonderful teaching faculty and staff. If our principal, faculty, and staff, would you please stand? Please stand. Yes, thank you. You are really wonderful, and we are blessed. Thank you. And for the folks here who maybe only know about our school and support our school, but I want you actually to see where all your support goes. So if we could have all of our school families, if you'd stand, children, uniforms, if you'd stand. Thank you. Please take a few minutes after your Mass today and just walk the school. You don't even have to go in the classrooms, just walk through your parish school, because it truly is your parish school. Just walk through, walk down there, walk through memory lane for yourself as well. And give thanks to God that we have this wonderful gift of formation, of Catholic education, of Christ here at St. Monica.